Taser, taser, taser. That's the warning police must give before firing their taser stun guns under strict risk assessment procedures. But last Sunday morning, were those procedures followed when police fired their tasers into 21-year-old Brazilian student Roberto Curti? Mr. Laudicio was unable to be revived. The circumstances of his death are now an international controversy and the police involved are under investigation. In all publicly reported taser-related deaths since the introduction of the devices, not once has it been officially established that the use of the taser was a direct cause of death. Both the device's manufacturer, Taser International, and police vigorously defend the effectiveness of tasers, saying their very presence helps to secure compliance and public safety and reduces violent assaults on police. There's a lot at stake here. The integrity of the police investigation into Mr. Laudicio's death itself is now a major issue. Should the police be investigating themselves? We don't know all the facts yet. We don't know exactly how many taser stun gun probes were fired into the body of Roberto Curti in Pitt Street last Sunday morning. An autopsy should determine the cause of his death. The police will have to justify their use of the taser in accordance with operational procedures, particularly after some limited closed-circuit video footage showed an unarmed Mr. Laudicio running away minutes before he died.
In general terms, someone running away would not be an immediate threat to the officer, but may be a threat to the community at large, so there could be circumstances that could be justified. It would be a rare occurrence.
Other available CCTV footage, including from cameras attached to the tasers themselves, Taser Cam, is in the hands of critical incident investigators from the homicide squad and may not be publicly released until a coronial inquiry is held. Civil liberties advocates and the Greens have called for tasers to be banned immediately, pending the outcome of the investigation.
It's time for the government to suspend the use of tasers with general duty police immediately.
Why?
Because they're not working as a weapon of protection, they have become a weapon of control.
Mike Gallagher, the Minister for Police, rejects this call.
It's not my intention to suspend them. I will rely very heavily on the work that's being done by the Ombudsman in conjunction with the investigation by the New South Wales Police.
Significantly, Assistant Commissioner Clark has reported that not one of the 6 reported taser-related deaths in Australia since the introduction of the devices in Western Australia in 1999 has resulted in an official finding that the taser was the direct cause of death.
I'm not aware of a direct cause of a death in respect of use of taser, and we must look in terms of the entirety of a situation. In New South Wales and of course in Australian jurisdictions, all information is put before a coroner. They will look at all the impacting factors and then they will deal with the findings of the coroner.
No direct link? So, with the stakes so high for a device police want to retain, should police be allowed to investigate themselves?
The Australian culture of having cops investigating cops doesn't work. Even though they're coronial inquiries, they rely on the evidence given to them by the police. That evidence is collected in a way which inevitably will favour the police involved in the episode. What we need is an independent investigation of every death that's involved using tasers.
By whom?
Well, we're advocating for the Police Integrity Commission. They're a separate body to the New South Wales Police. They have investigative powers. In fact, they have the powers of a Royal Commission.
That means that they have to have a quick response team ready at a moment's notice. What about the resources required for that?
You can argue about the resources required, but we're talking about people dying.
Well, I've had no submission from the PIC wanting to go down that path. I'm satisfied with having the Ombudsman there playing that role.
Former Superintendent Ron Mason, now retired, has been zapped by tasers dozens of times as the device was being tested in New South Wales. He defends their use.
I've been assaulted and attacked or in violent confrontations hundreds and hundreds of times. I've received substantial injuries, some of them permanent, and I've also caused people injuries, and that includes hospitalisation. I have been involved in a shooting where if I had the opportunity, instead of discharging my firearm, to deploy a taser that person would still be alive today.
Recently, Four Corners exposed the scathing condemnation of a police critical incident investigation into the police shooting of a young psychotic man, Adam Salter, in 2009. Deputy Coroner Scott Mitchell found the police investigation to be discredited and accepted the Salter family's submission through their lawyer that the police had engaged in a cover-up and a whitewash. The Police Integrity Commission announced this week it has now started an investigation into possible police misconduct in the Salter investigation. With this in mind, can the New South Wales Police be trusted to investigate themselves over the taser-related death of Roberto Curti?
The Ombudsman still has extraordinary powers in their own right. They have the powers of akin of a Royal Commissioner to actually be able to hold Section 19 inquiries if they need to be able to do so. And of course, if they believe that there is serious misconduct at play, they're in a position to then refer that also to the PIC. I'm satisfied that the Ombudsman's role at this stage is the proper one. I'm also satisfied that by having the critical investigative team, it's not only just made up of homicide squad police, but also internal affairs, that there are people there who are prepared to conduct an investigation that will guarantee some level of security for all interested parties, both police as well as the public and people who have made the complaint in relation to the conduct of those investigations.
Ombudsman Bruce Barber is about to publish a comprehensive review of 1,600 incidents of taser use in New South Wales from 2008 to 2010, including a review of 600 videos from Taser Cam. At this stage, the Ombudsman is not recommending to government the withdrawal or suspension of tasers from operational use by General Duties Police. The Police Minister says he relies on the Ombudsman's advice in maintaining this status quo. Police Commissioner Andrew Scipione declined to be interviewed on this issue. If there is another taser-related death, public confidence in the use of this device may tip this balance. The taser may be about to lose the benefit of the public's reasonable doubt about its